I think one of the huge advantages to Booth's curriculum is the flexibility and the fact that you're not in a cohorted program where every single student goes through the exact same curricular experience for their first year. I knew that I came from a background with 6 years in a very narrow finance focus, and that was, I was successful at that, and I knew that very well. But I also knew there was a lot to being a more broad-based successful leader that I had to develop and do in order to be kind of successful in my longer-term career. And so I focused very quickly on entrepreneurship, strategic management, and classes that I felt like really rounded me out as an MBA and as a leader in business. And so I took some of the foundations classes, but for instance, I didn't take accounting because I felt like that was something I could do a little bit later on. I had a pretty strong background in. I knew I'd be taking an advanced level accounting when I did take one, but it was something I felt like I could hold off on until my second year. And in place of that, I put my very first term, I put competitive strategy. And it was a great experience for me because I was actually in a class with a lot of second-year students. So, off the bat, first quarter, I took advanced microeconomics, I took statistics, and I took competitive strategy. And competitive strategy, I was in this program with all these students who had been there for a year and who had a lot of experience with a case-based format, which in my undergraduate experience, I never had. And so understanding what a very high-functioning, very high-participation, highly collaborative learning experience was like very early on was great for me. And it really opened my eyes to kind of what the Booth experience is going to be like. And I was able to then take an advanced level strategic planning class, which was predominantly second year, it's my winter quarter. And I think about what I'm gonna have to do for this summer and realize a lot of what I learned in that winter class will be highly applicable. And if I had been in a program which told me I couldn't take an elective till my second year, I think I would have been much less prepared to be an effective employee and entrepreneur for the summer. And so I just think people they hear flexible curriculum so much that I think any prospective student thinks, okay, this flexible curriculum, that's great, I hear it, but nobody really understands the power of it till they come in and they think about designing a program that is entirely unique to their background and to their objectives.
I'm talking to prospective students a lot, as well as admitted students, and that is one of the things that I say is a very visible and concrete differentiating factor of Chicago Booth. I have taken classes that I think I might not have been able to take at other places. I waived out of the core accounting class. That's a prerequisite for a lot of the finance classes, but coming from private equity, I had done a ton of due diligence that related to accounting, and doing debits and credits was probably going to be a little bit too basic for me. So there was absolutely no issue with stepping over that class and taking a more advanced accounting class that related to financial statements and footnotes and more advanced topics that are going to be really relevant for making future investment decisions down the road in my career. Also, I've been able to take classes that very specifically relate to my recruiting, as opposed to only saying, all right, I've taken econ, I've taken stats, I've taken accounting, a lot of the basics. I've been able to take real estate investments 1 and 2, which have been really critical things for me to relay in my interview process, that I've had access to that. These are definitely advanced level financial topics, and I might not have been able to take them otherwise, especially in my first year. In my real estate investments 2 class, there's a ton of second year students. So the fact that I'm sitting in a class with people at different stages in their MBA is really great. The flexibility provides a ton of advantages, but I don't think you'll ever have a problem with not being sure of where you're going next. And academic services also plays a huge part in that. I met with them to plan out my path here and what classes I was going to take. And I've been really successful every quarter in getting into the classes I want and being really happy with my schedule, which is huge, obviously, because getting what you want at the times you want shapes your 10 weeks of your life every quarter.
I think flexible curriculum is the big thing to bring up here because it's highlighting the fact that I'm able to pick my own path. I'm able to figure out what I need to address in my background and what I want to be stronger at, what I want to address as a weakness, and I think ultimately I'll come out of here much more able to perform in a variety of areas, which is what I think my career will demand of me.
I'm talking about the flexibility. My very first quarter here, I took Kevin Murphy's class, Advanced Microeconomics. That's another one thing that I really like about Chicago. I wasn't forced to take Intro to Economics because I did that for my undergrad and also my last 4 years in my career. So I like that. So that's one aspect of the flexibility. You can go ahead and take advanced courses as opposed to like the standard Economics 101. The other part I liked a lot was I was going into consulting. So I recognized there's certain areas that I needed to improve on before I did my interviewing for consulting. That was really, really important to me. So an example is my accounting is not, I don't have an accounting background, and I needed to make sure I did some accounting before I went into my case interviews.
But I have heard from a lot of second years that it's great to get out, explore a little bit more. It is a world-class university in more areas than just business, and so there's a lot of different opportunities to explore other passions you may have or things that maybe are more niche but would be applicable to you in your future career path.
It's going to allow me to have that perspective on healthcare, which is extremely important when you're working in the business world, because a lot of times you may be interacting with people who don't have that business background, who have more of a, a medicine background, where it's you have to be considerate of the administrators and the practitioners and their perspective on the healthcare system, because at the end of the day, you're really trying to improve the quality of life for people.